What are you 100% certain is true despite having no evidence to confirm or disprove your belief?
Big Mac keeps getting smaller. Pretty soon it'll just be 3 buns with a little grease stain between them.
BuzzFeed employees make Ask Reddit posts to help them write articles.
One of my local radio stations does this for a fact. 2 days after a popular Ask Reddit, they ask their audience the exact question.
A supervisor changed my days off at the last minute without telling me in an attempt to get me fired for attendance.
I had that happen to me when I was 19. Thankfully, a manager called me at home asking why I was no longer coming in. Told him I was fired for missing a day which I wasn't scheduled for. He told me to come in the next day to work and he'd deal with the supervisor. Apparently it wasn't her first time doing this, but it was her last. Garbage trucks have loud brakes to give us one last chance to get the bins out.
I'm convinced that theme parks, fairs, carnivals pay people to walk around with giant prizes to make the games look more winnable and convince more people to play.
Tales from the Carnival, by Adam Buckley, details the creator's experience working at a carnival. He said that all the games are rigged and the operators let attractive couples win so they can walk around the carnival with the large prizes as a form of advertising. Find Tales from the Carnival here, link.
The big Hot Pockets from a convenience store have different fillings than the small ones from the grocery store. I swear they taste different.
If they're different size pockets, boxes, they could easily be from a different factory that uses different suppliers.
I actually prefer the big ones. They used to sell them at my middle school for $2 in the alternative lunch line.
I'm being pushed aside for leadership roles at my company because I'm a good reliable worker and they have a shortage of those.
It's definitely something that happens. Asked an old boss of mine about something similar and they came straight out with it. I need you in your current role more than in a higher position. I was perfectly okay with that, especially a little while later when raises came out.
Software updates at the end of a product lifetime will brick the device.
If not brick, they'll at least make them obnoxiously slow. I'm looking at you, Apple. My coworker lies about her medical conditions. She lies that she has seizures, and while I can't prove it, I know it's a lie because she'll drive the same day that she claims to have a seizure. Anytime you mention any medical condition, she has it and it's worse than your case. She has mentioned having toxic shock syndrome, colitis, and a bunch of other things I can't recall at the moment. One day we were talking about autism, and she mentioned that her 22Y daughter, who also happens to work with us, was diagnosed as a child. A few days later, the daughter casually mentioned that she had found out just recently that she's autistic. I wanted to tell her that she only just found out because her mom just recently made that poo up.
I have a coworker that only limps when he thinks someone can see him.
Coke, soft drinks taste better in glass bottles than plastic.
The NFL politicized kneeling to distract from CTE research.
Agree. My brother played high school football in the late 90s and suffered at least 3 or 4 concussions that I can remember. As he got older, his personality got more and more unpredictable until he got fired from the job he had worked at for 20 years. At this point, he went on a bender, using meth and heroin. He was eventually found, almost dead from an overdose, with a needle still in his arm. Eventually he went to live with my parents and was basically lobotomized from his brain being without oxygen. I'm convinced he and others of his age that suffered similar head injuries are victims of CTE. One young man who played with him completed suicide in his late 20s. Another became a narcotics officer and was involved in a dramatic murder-suicide. A few others are nursing various substance issues. There is definitely something there, but if it was investigated fully it would end multi-billion-dollar industries.
That my sweet, innocent, shy dog is a diabolical mastermind who creates scenarios that get my hyperactive dog into trouble in order to maintain his favorite title among friends and family. I've seen some things. Poor Wendy.
Phone and internet providers start out solid and over time purposefully make the product worse to encourage you to upgrade.
Also, Comcast throttles the internet between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. I'm a late nighter and it goes out without fail. When I call they say it's my router, but that's the only time it ever goes out.
My cat knocked over the water glass on purpose.
I don't even know your cat and I'm also 100% sure of this.
I think my mom's ex-boyfriend RPD my sister. We don't have any evidence. He was abusive towards my mom, so we got him out of her life, and then we noticed my sister gets noticeably on edge around men. He won't talk, and my sister is mentally disabled and won't tell us. I'm 100% certain of it in my gut.
Jesus man, that's an awful thing to be sure about. I hope it didn't happen, but if it's true I wish you find a way to make him go to jail for life.
Companies are offering monthly payment plans in an effort to normalize having a low income and high debt.
Yes, a number of department stores just did away with layaway. You pay a little bit at a time until you've paid the whole price tag and then you get to bring the item home, and in its place introduced a credit system where you get the item immediately and have to pay monthly payments plus interest on them. You know the spirit of Christmas.
That those people who accidentally show P in class are secretly getting off on it.
This is oddly specific.
Something in my old elementary school is causing people to get cancer. I lived in a small town, right around 4,000 people. I went to the private Catholic school in the area, which was even smaller. I graduated with 15 in my class and there were less than 300 students total at the time. Despite this very small amount of people, 6 students and faculty members have been diagnosed with cancer over the past 5 years. The odds are so unbelievably slim that I'm sure something cancer-causing is in the building, but who knows what or where it is.
Have the water tested. Small town, I'm guessing the possibility of wells. Could maybe be the water source the school is using.
My bond with my bearded dragon goes beyond, he's warm. I understand the limitations of his tiny nervous system and that he isn't capable of affection. I just firmly believe that he not only wants heat and food, but that he finds my presence to be pleasant. That boy will come off his basking log as hot as hell ever need to be, with a belly full of bugs, and still come hauling over just to fall asleep on me. I don't know what it is, but it's more than just him seeking the necessities.
I adopted a blind kitten that was really aggressive, not like going out of their way to attack people or anything, but just would bite, claw when you played with them or pet them for more than a second, and aside from her bedtime at night she never sat still for more than a few minutes, as many kittens are. Kept my home office door closed while working so she wouldn't be too much of a problem. Had some crippling depression one day, and aside from putting out her food at the normal time I only laid in bed. After about 2 hours she hopped up on the bed and just laid on my chest, purring, for over an hour until I got up. Animals are like people and just total bros sometimes when their friends, family need it.
That the Polynesians made it into North and South America *long* before anyone else. I'm talking like 4,000 years ago. Ancient Polynesians were so good at circumnavigation that they knew exactly where they were going roughly 2,000 years before their counterparts. It wasn't until 1759 that Europeans knew how to figure out where they were at sea, latitude-wise. That was when a sextant was invented. There is no physical evidence of them making it to the Americas, however they have made it equally as far west, so why not east? Also, and I know this is not evidence, but there is a tribe in the Amazon who believes that their people were saved and brought from their original homeland to the jungle on the coast of Peru. They don't describe a god, they describe others bringing them from super far distances in a ship and then leaving to go back that incredibly far distance. That tribe has had DNA tests done and they carry a lot of the same DNA as Polynesians, all the way into the center of Brazil. The DNA comes from between Papua New Guinea and the Andaman Islands, from the Bay of Bengal, and even some from the New Zealand area.
The correlation between feeling you're right and actually being right is low to moderate.
This feels right.
Aliens exist all over the universe.
Be it only some extremely simple organisms or those super advanced civilizations we see on sci-fi stories, I have no doubt life exists outside Earth.
That incompetence and self-interest is responsible for most of the bad poo that happens in world politics rather than conspiracies.
Sandwiches made for you are absolutely better than sandwiches you make yourself.
Doesn't this have something to do with being desensitized to the smells of the food while you're preparing it? I'm no doctor though.
I am convinced that the electronics items sold at steep discounts on Black Friday are the ones that don't test as well at the factory. Like, when they do quality control tests, the ones that rate 90% or whatever are the ones that are tagged and sent out for Black Friday sales.
Some modern art is priced so high because rich people utilize it for money laundering. Saw it on a Reddit conspiracy comment and I haven't been able to shake it since. Edit. Apparently there's a load of evidence supporting this. Thanks for the info and documentary recommendations.
Lunch meat cut as thin as possible just tastes better.
The flavors got nowhere to hide.
Holiday-shaped Snickers taste better than regular Snickers bars. Same for special-shaped Kraft mac and cheese.
I have scientific evidence that the dinosaur chicken nuggets taste better than their round counterparts. The obtuse shapes of the prehistoric poultry pieces allows for a more thorough cooking of the meat slurry, and the edges grab sauce better and get a better, more even crisp.
There is at least one giant creature deep down in the ocean that we don't know about because we have never seen before. Like maybe one of those megalodons, plesiosaurs. We thought giant squids weren't real until we found one. Oh, and also maybe aliens. I like getting carried away with this stuff, and since there's no real 100% evidence that the answer is no, what's wrong with thinking it might be true? Smiley face.
It's almost impossible that we don't eventually find more large deep-sea life. Magna pinna, giant and colossal squid are all fairly recent find, and I believe deep-sea mining will lead to more. The issue is that the animals can't be that giant. Whale size is about the theoretical maximum. Anything larger than that should have flagged on a surveillance system of some sort by now. People, well, governments, are really good at tracking large objects on this planet. Personally, I think we'll find more mollusk-type giants. I can totally imagine 30 feet deep sea clams, or some giant species of deep sea eel. I just doubt it'll be anything particularly huge, bony or mobile.
That was interesting what you said about a giant eel. I read recently that there's a lot of people who think the Loch Ness Monster is really a giant eel. There's apparently tons of eels in that water, and the monster could just be a monster-sized one. I really want it to be a dinosaur, but even if it really was a giant eel, I still wouldn't be disappointed. An eel large enough to look like a dinosaur is pretty damn cool in and of itself. Smiley face.
I am convinced that other people are not mere philosophical zombies. Link.
That's what a philosophical zombie would say.
People who buy NFTs don't actually exist, it's just a money laundering scheme.
Someone recently opened a private art gallery cafe that only allows in people who have crypto and or NFTs in one of the poorest neighborhoods in the city. Can see that going well.
Intelligent life exists outside of our solar system. Aliens exist.
Having the most upvotes doesn't mean the statement is true.
At least half the US government can't beat a 5th grader in 5th grade trivia.
There are probably a ton of trivia questions a 5th grader would know better than me, or probably most adults. Trivia is a lot of repetition and memorization, and they're doing it approximately 180 days a year versus adults who pretty much do it never once they graduate.
The person reading this is sitting or laying down.
It's gonna be alright.
Thanks, man.
People with lower IQs are happier because they aren't constantly overthinking, looking for self-transcendence, analyzing everything around them, and expecting too much of themselves.
Yet I'm still stupid and sad.
Humans can communicate telepathically, we just don't know how to use it on purpose.
This, along with the whole emotional connection thing. My mum found me overdosing when I was a teen, and there was absolutely no reason for her to break her routine. She always maintains something told her she would regret it tomorrow. If she didn't check, say goodnight to me.
The Loch Ness Monster is a lil dinosaur ghost. I would highly recommend believing this, since it doesn't hurt anyone to do so. Makes me smile thinking about him.
Allowed to operate freely, corporations would gladly abandon any semblance of ethics to turn a profit, including ushering in the slavery and or deaths of their customers.
They said something with no evidence. We already know about all this from the Gilded Age and Industrial Revolution for the past. Heck, regulations barely stop corporations from dumping toxic waste in drinking water as it is.
We're never going to contact intelligent alien life. It probably exists, but the universe is simply too big. We've let ourselves get carried away with sci-fi depictions of impossible technologies that we assume one day we'll be able to cross vast distance in the blink of an eye, but it's more likely that we just can't.
Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.